next news. Breaking news from the White House.
Investigators just dropped a bombshell on election fraud in Los Angeles. A longtime signature gatherer stands accused of paying cash to homeless people on Skid Row to register to vote in federal elections. The Trump administration's Department of Justice moved fast after hidden camera footage exposed the scheme playing out again and again and again. Brenda Lee Brown Armstrong now faces serious federal charges and up to 5 years behind bars. This is not a theory or a debate anymore. It's a criminal case with real victims and real consequences. And voters across America are asking the same question tonight. How many more of these operations are running right now in cities from coast to coast? When vulnerable people are turned into political commodities for a few dollars, every ballot cast loses meaning. Communities lose faith when they see signature gatherers targeting the desperate for quick registrations. And politically, the timing could not be worse for those who spent years denying that the vulnerabilities exist. The single case adds fuel to every voter ID fight and every Save America Act push happening in Washington, and it proves the system needs tighter rules and real accountability before another election cycle. And the message is clear. Weak oversight invites abuse, and the American people are done watching it happen. And before we go deeper into this breaking case, here's some urgent news on another front that's vital to American strength. This breaking news tonight on America's critical mineral supply chain. SAGA Metals, trading as SAGMF in the U.S. and SAGA in Canada, is now emerging as a major story in the race to secure materials tied directly to national defense. In less than 6 months, SAGA has moved with unusual speed. Last week, the company announced a 100% drill success rate across all 57 holes at its radar project, and they finished ahead of schedule. That matters because radar is being positioned as a potential host for strategic minerals that America needs to stay ahead of foreign adversaries. Check out the in-depth interview with the CEO on this very topic I did over the weekend for the full picture, and check the exclusive briefing link below, but it's only for Next News viewers. Now back to the explosive story that's unfolding in Los Angeles. See, what makes this case even more explosive is the sheer number of times that it happened. O'Keefe Media Group captured the same payment pattern at least 28 times in a short period. The defendant worked the Skid Row area for years as a paid petition circulator. Now she signed a plea admitting guilt under federal law. This is the accountability that voters have demanded for years. And here we have this from the FBI Los Angeles. Brenda Lee Brown Armstrong of Marina del Rey has been federally charged with allegedly paying individuals, including homeless people living in the Skid Row area of Los Angeles, to register to vote. So the FBI breaking the case update, announcing the federal charges, and James O'Keefe posting that O'Keefe gets accountability. Election fraudster Brenda Brown faces up to 5 years in prison after O'Keefe exposing. And this is the undercover video that triggered the entire thing.
The petitioner Brenda Brown hands cash money to the homeless person, not only for signing the California ballot initiative, but also as payment for them to register to vote.
Now, because you haven't registered, I need to register you so I can get paid too. I'm paying you guys, I need to get paid. Come on.
That is a federal felony, and it didn't just happen once. It happened over and over and over again. We personally witnessed and covertly filmed this happening at least 28 times over the span of our investigation, and that is just in Los Angeles.
James O'Keefe Media Group getting it. The footage capturing repeated payoffs to the homeless. And now the DOJ confirming that she pleaded guilty with the deal that includes up to 5 years in prison. O'Keefe posting that the James O'Keefe investigation leads to DOJ indictment of election fraudster in Los Angeles. And here is the press briefing.
First, I want to talk about voter fraud and the case of United States versus Brown Armstrong, and we'll have a graphic up there in a moment. The Department of Justice has charged a longtime California signature gatherer under 52 U.S.C. section 10307 subsection C with one count of paying another person to register to vote in a federal election. The defendant, Brenda Lee Brown Armstrong, has signed a plea agreement and has admitted her guilt on this charge. According to the plea agreement, and my colleague Bill Assaley will be able to answer any specific questions about it, she worked as a petition circulator, aka signature gatherer, here in Los Angeles for approximately 20 years. And starting in 2025 or so, after Ms. Brown Armstrong had a practice of going down to Skid Row here in Los Angeles, getting homeless people to sign these signature petitions that had to do with qualifying ballot measures and et cetera. She would sometimes find that the signatures would be disqualified because the people signing these signature petitions weren't actually registered to vote. So to remedy this flaw in her business arrangements, she would then gather, starting in 2025, stacks of voter registration forms from the Los Angeles County Registrar of Voters, and then go to Skid Row in downtown Los Angeles to have homeless people first sign the voter registration forms and then sign the signature petitions. And she did this in exchange for cash and other items of value, inducements both for the voter registration and for the signature petitions. These were often small sums of cash, just a few dollars, as well as cigarettes and phone cards. On several occasions, when the homeless person had no formal address to enter on the voter registration form, Ms. Brown Armstrong provided them with a fake address, namely her own former address in Los Angeles, to write on the voter registration form. Now, the potential charges and sentence would include 5 years in prison, 3 years of supervised release, and a fine of up to $10,000. This case is important because it shows how easy it is under California law to corrupt the state's voter rolls and thereby corrupt the state and federal elections administered by the state. Because when someone registers.
So there is Harmeet Dillon on the briefing. And now here is the actual document. She's agreed to a plea deal admitting she paid homeless people in LA to register to vote in federal elections to support her paid signature gathering business. So there's the document. So Dillon calling out the broader threat from groups exploiting vulnerable voters. And now reports are exposing how the same playbook is running in places like Atlanta with Soros-funded networks. This is David Kate, who broke this.
Why would 1,000 people be registered to vote from one single location, 201 Washington Street Southwest? And when you come here, you realize that this is actually a church. What was happening when we were looking through the voter registration list from the previous election cycle is I noticed well over 1,000 people registered from one single location. Come to find out, it's a church. When we looked into it further, we realized what was actually happening here. It's actually a very well-organized plan by Democrat donors like George Soros. George Soros poured in millions into an organization here in Atlanta that did what? They went around this entire place and signed up all the homeless people. It's during the day right now, so you don't see all the homeless people, but usually this place is filled with homeless people. So an organization that supports Democrats received money from people like George Soros to go and register homeless people to be able to vote from one single place. And to make things even crazier, if we turn around, this place is directly across the Georgia Capitol. All it took for me is to find the voter list and to see why is there more than 1,000 people able to register from one place to realize that something is wrong here. The building right next to 201 Washington Street is actually a Catholic church. Well, guess what? This place, 48 Martin Luther King Jr. Drive Southwest, has registered over 2,000 people to vote from one single location. And guess who it was? It was the progressive organization signing up homeless people that are literally right across the street. It's freezing here in Atlanta. It's actually 35 degrees at 1 p.m. But usually all of this area is filled up with the homeless people. And again, we're outside one of these mega churches that ended up registering more than 1,000 people to vote from just one single place.
Unbelievable, the level of fraud that's taken place. But here's the truth. The establishment never wanted exposed. One woman got caught, but the tactic she used is part of a larger pattern of exploiting the most vulnerable for political gain. Federal charges under the Trump administration prove these crimes will not be ignored. Every new case like this strengthens the case for real reforms that protect the integrity of every single vote. The system is finally fighting back, and the message tonight is very simple. Election integrity is not optional, and this guilty plea shows it. So share this report with every American who cares about honest elections, and drop a comment below with your thoughts. Do you believe stronger voter ID laws are needed now more than ever? And text the words raw feed like the thousands of patriots already to that secret number on the screen, 844-840-4963, to get direct updates straight to your phone from me to beat the algorithm. And check out the Next News merch shelf below this video for America 250 gear that supports the fight. We're keeping the pressure on and exposing every scheme until the system works for the people again. Stay with the Next News Network.
The system controls information. Information control is power. They don't want you to see this. The truth only survives together. They don't want this shared. Share this now.